Against the red button thought experiment. Imagine a red button in front of you. If you press it, all life immediately disappears. The red button thought experiment asks, would you do it? I will not argue against nor in favor of pressing the red button, but rather I will criticize the thought experiment itself. Introduction. The red button thought experiment, also called the benevolent world exploder, has been discussed in academic circles since 1958. There are variations on it, but I'll just present a simple version. Let's imagine a red button that, when pressed, will instantaneously annihilate all life in the universe. The question is, of course, should we press it? Now, why would we? Well, the thinking goes, given all the gratuitous suffering that's been going on for hundreds of millions of years, suffering that would otherwise continue millions of years into the future, it would be best to put a stop to it, even if it meant destroying all life. But if we do press the button, we are killing everyone and everything, even those who are striving not to cause harm to anyone or who try to make the world a better place. We are violating their rights, autonomy, consent, etc. Any moral framework where calculation of well-being is involved seems to be subject to this problem. This includes classical utilitarianism, negative utilitarianism, as well as threshold deontology. We even see some antinatalists discussing it. So it has quite a wide application, which is one reason why it's worth looking into it. I will argue not so much against pressing the button, but rather against the thought experiment itself. No transfer to real-world situations. Sometimes, hypothetical scenarios are useful in that they can tell us what would be the best course of action in real situations that are similar. The trolley problem can be applicable to implementing proper decision-making in self-driving cars. The organ harvesting problem can be applicable to prioritizing patients in a hospital, especially in war zones. The violinist thought experiment informs our stance on abortion. The veil of ignorance makes us think how to properly structure society in a fair and just manner. When we examine a thought experiment and see that it could inform our behaviors in the real world, then it makes sense to try to figure out the answer. What would be the best course of action in the thought experiment may very well be the best course of action in situations that can actually happen. But this is not the case with the red button. No matter how long we ponder on the red button question, we will never be able to transfer our findings to the real world. There will never be a situation similar to the one presented in the thought experiment. It makes no sense trying to answer the question because the answer will never influence our actions or our prescriptions for actions in the real world. So, why even ask the question? No examining of our values. Some people say that by examining the red button thought experiment, we can arrive at our values or principles. But can we really? What would be the value of the values we find through this process? Let's say we have two people, Jack and Jill. Jack says he would press the button. Jill says she would not. Otherwise, they seem to have a very similar outlook on a lot of things and they seem to act in morally similar ways. Presumably, both of them may give some money to charity. Both of them may or may not be vegans. They may help someone in need. They may be similarly compassionate. So, on the one hand, they seem to exhibit the same ethical principles, yet they differ on this one allegedly crucial moral claim. What does it even matter how they answer the question? It doesn't. Now, let's say that Jack and Jill discussed the thought experiment in detail. After the discussion, one of two things happens. A. Jack changes his mind. He would no longer press the button. B. Jill changes her mind. She would press the button. In either case, can we predict any significant changes to either Jack or Jill? Will they update some other moral values they held? Will they change their behavior in any relevant way? Will one of them start or stop giving to charity? Will one of them become vegan or stop being one? Would they not help someone in need? Would they be more or less compassionate towards others? I don't think so. It's more likely the only significant change will be in that one isolated belief about pressing the red button, and nothing serious will come out of this. This strengthens the idea that we will not find any important values by engaging in this thought experiment. Again, why even ask the question? Why I don't argue against pressing the red button? Let's say I find a strong argument in favor of pressing the button. This would sway me into giving a specific answer. In this case, yes, I would press it. But then I come across reasonable objections to that argument. This would sway me the other way. Now I would say, no, I should not press it. But the objections I raised in this essay are immune to such arguments in favor or against pushing the button, which are about the content of the thought experiment. My objections are on the meta level. They are about the thought experiment itself, whether the experiment is valuable. So no matter how many and how strong your arguments are in favor or against pushing the red button, my objections still hold and render the thought experiment useless. This seems to be in line with the academic use of the World Exploder thought experiment. There, it was used not to find some deep-rooted values or inform our morality, but it was presented to show an absurd conclusion of negative utilitarianism. So it has some value, but only in very limited use cases, in theoretical debates regarding normative ethics. Conclusion. In conclusion, the red button thought experiment is useless because the answer doesn't matter. It doesn't inform our moral behavior, nor does it help us find any relevant moral values. The thought experiment has only a very limited use in philosophy when debating theories of ethics.